So you've drafted and crafted your UVP, you have reviewed the examples, you've practiced your UVP out loud a little bit. Now we want to put it to use. We want to find places to use your UVP and then go over some pro tips for using it really, really well. So you can use this UVP in a lot of different places. Certainly on your website, maybe it lives as kind of a tagline or in the about section or as the first line of your artist bio or your artist statement. Maybe it lives on social media in that bio line for folks to sort of learn more about you or sort of capture their attention. Maybe you put it in grant applications or requests for proposals or RFPs you might be pursuing. There are different ways to incorporate it, often as the first sentence or the starting point to describe you and your work in lots of different written contexts. You also might find yourself sharing it out loud. Maybe you are attending creative events or meeting other creative individuals or others involved in the creative industry, and this is part of your introduction, right? Or it is quite literally out loud the answer to the question, sort of, what do you do? Um, or maybe you're giving artist talks or other speaking engagements and presentations or introducing yourself in a more formal way, and it is part of that introduction as well at creative events. If you're feeling especially bold, maybe you also start using this at non-creative events you might be attending. So networking events or business related events or community events where you might be the only or one of only a very few creative individuals in attendance. I love that idea because I think not only is it more impactful and memorable in a non-creative setting, but then it really does open up your network to include a whole lot of maybe non-arts folks or folks that don't even know they're arts folks yet. You could also use it as the starting point for a couple of different kind of storytelling or community building outlets. So maybe you want to use this to share stories. Maybe you are the person whose UVP is that you disrupt expected environments through large scale paintings and installations. So maybe on social media, you have sort of a series or a handful of posts that say something like, here's how I disrupted an expected environment today. And you show before and after pictures, right? You can incorporate this language in a couple of different types of settings to support your marketing, make everything feel really consistent, and come back to really the value of what you do. Or maybe you use it to build community. Maybe there are other artists you're working with who are also disrupting expected environments. And so maybe you lean into community building through social media or some sort of campaign that highlights others who are disrupting expected environments as well. So the more you can sort of lean into the authenticity of this and then think about using it in different contexts that really do come together and align with you and your business, the easier and more authentic it will be. If you are going to share it out loud or at some sort of event, generally you want to lead with your name, right? As opposed to just a declarative statement. So that makes it a little bit more sort of calm and conversational, where it is more of an introduction. So maybe you say, I am so and so, and I surprise students by combining Lady Gaga and Bach in my work, or something like that. You also do want to make sure you're leaning into that conversational piece. So maybe there are extra phrases that get added in, or maybe you sort of lean into different aspects of the UVP so it does feel very conversational. Slow it down. This language might be language you have practiced a lot, but it might not be super familiar to someone else's ears. So don't rush it. And if you're comfortable or if it feels authentic, lean into kind of open body language, right? A pleasant expression, right? Any sort of body language that again invites the conversation to continue instead of kind of shutting it down defensively, right? So those might be ways to make it land a little bit more easily to you. But of course, it does have to be authentic to you. So ignore any of that advice if it doesn't really feel relevant. As I mentioned, this is meant to be conversational when you're using it out loud. I love aiming for that short, concise, single sentence, right? You can maybe add a second sentence if you really need to, but please remember this is not kind of the entire conversation. This is simply the opening or an invitation to continue the conversation, and you can always add more context. Or maybe you lean into adding a phrase depending on where you are and what you really want to emphasize. So maybe you want to talk about a current project you're working on, or maybe you are building community or recruiting partners or funders or supporters or sponsors for something. You could always add a second phrase, right? So maybe you say, I celebrate the colors of Appalachia through my woven textiles. And right now I'm working on a new body of work that really leans into this current season. Or maybe you say, I celebrate the colors of Appalachia through my textiles. And right now I'm recruiting partners so that we can expand our offerings internationally. Or maybe you say, I surprise students by combining Lady Gaga and Bach. And right now we're looking for underwriters to take this programming to additional schools in neighboring areas or something like that. There can always be an extra phrase if you do want to incorporate any sort of ask or request. Or you can simply continue by saying what you're most excited about. And you certainly don't have to continue at all, right? You can also just say your UVP and then pause and see what the reaction is. But if you're feeling like it's not conversational or you want to tie it into something specific, there are some techniques for doing that as well. At the end of this, and as we sort of bring all of this together, we do want to make sure you are maximizing high impact words that feel really authentic to you. You can draft as many versions of your UVP as you would like. You don't have to limit yourself to just one. There can be different ones for different projects or different circumstances, or even different aspects of your business, depending on what you might want to focus on at a particular moment in time. And of course, you can always revisit and change your UVP as your career or your goals or your profession evolves. I hope this has been helpful introducing the concept of a UVP and helping you start drafting and crafting your own through some examples and offering some definitions and some pro tips. I will end with gratitude to you for all that you do for the world. And I can't wait to read your UVPs if you would like to share them with me. Have a wonderful day and thanks for participating in this program.